What are key specs of a switch? How to choose a switch? What are the basic parameters? When a client asks us that, okay, I have this kind of requirement, I want Wi-Fi at my home, I have 4 computers to connect together and 1 server. So how do we choose the switch? Let's discuss these kind of criteria, that how do we decide. First of all, we choose a switch based on the port speed. We need to see that what is the customer requirement, that whether they want an FE link, whether their requirement is up to 100 MB per port, whether their requirement is up to 1000 or 10,000, so that we can suggest the switch according to that, whether it's an FE switch, it's a GE switch, or it's 10 gig switch. Usually the port speeds are written here on the top of the ports on the physical switch itself, just like you can see here in the picture. The second thing we need to take care about is port form, that whether it's an RJ45 type of port which customer needs, or whether it's an SFP optical port. Then we can also see that how many ports do they want. Do they want 4 plus 1? Plus 1 means that one is uplink and there are 4 normal downlink ports. For example, we have a Ruijie switch in here which has 5 ports. So if a client's requirement is to connect 4 devices together plus 1 uplink for towards the internet, then we can suggest this kind of switch. But if a client has a requirement that I have 8 devices, so we can choose this kind of 8 port switch. And again, depending on the requirement, whether they want unmanaged, managed, cloud managed, or which kind of switch. Then another thing we need to care about is whether their requirement is PoE plus or non-PoE switch. We'll discuss more about PoE just now. Another thing we need to care about is that whether their requirement can be satisfied with an unmanaged switch. This is an unmanaged switch. This cannot be managed. We cannot do advanced configuration because this is very basic switch, right? The second type of switch could be cloud managed switch. This one is more advanced switch. This is the industry's leading switch at the moment. So it is managed through cloud. The third type is called as managed switch. Another thing we might need to look about routing requirements, whether they need only layer 2, layer 2 plus or layer 3 type of switch. So these are few basic parameters we need to look for when we are deciding a switch, when we are suggesting a switch to a client.